Team of the season. Don't worry, that's the last of me singing, if you can call it singing. So the last few videos have been very angry, stressful, shouting, high blood pressure, just not fun. So today I wanted to do a video that was more fun, no stress, no anger, no shouting, and just do a team of the season video. I know the season hasn't finished yet, but we've seen enough from everyone now, so we can just get on with it. I'm going to do the team of the season properly. I'm not going to do it like a lot of people do, where they try shoehorn players into different positions that they've never played just to try and shoehorn them into the team of the season. So I'm going to do it as a 4-3-3, and every single player is going to have played in that position over the course of this season, at least at some point. I'm not going to be trying to shoehorn Isak over to a left wing position so that I can put another striker in. Everyone's just going to be in their position, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm going to start from goalkeeper, and we're going to go right the way across to left wing, working that way across the pitch. Obviously, that's the only logical way to do it, because I can't go goalkeeper to right wing, because right wing's kind of blatantly obvious, really. So you're not going to stick around to the end of the video to find out who the right winger is. So yeah, goalkeeper to left wing. And I'm not just going to whack the player in the team and not talk you through the process. I'm going to talk you through every kind of player that I've put in, who I've considered for that position, and then who I've actually obviously gone for. But as you'll see, as the video goes on, some of these have been a really tight choice, and I've just ended up going with who I've gone with. But some of them were genuinely pretty much a 50-50 with who I could have gone with. And I honestly think the team of the season that's come out of this at the end, genuinely, I think it's the best one I've seen. Obviously, I will think that it's my team of the season, but I do think it's like, it's not biased at all. Like, there's a few players I really didn't want to put in there, but I just kind of had to. And then alternatively as well, there's a few players I really wanted to put in there, but I had to not. But anyway, despite that, I'm sure there will still be plenty of people that disagree with my choices. So let me know in the comments if you think I've had a massive blunder with any of them. Also, as I said, I'm going to talk you through the process of each player and every player that I've considered. So if I've completely missed someone as well, make sure to let me know, because that might happen. And really quickly, before we get into it, off the back of the last video, I got a lot of feedback from people saying they really enjoyed that video, but it's got really low view count. And I know why that is because I posted it at midnight and people ended up watching it at like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. And a lot of my subscribers, by the time they get on YouTube, if you're subscribed to a lot of people, it just disappears then into your subscription feed. So I need to ask, if you really do enjoy the content, please make sure to not only subscribe, but also hit the bell, because ultimately I'm not a full-time YouTuber. I'm just doing these videos as and when I can around life, which means the videos just come out when I can get them out, really. And for things like match reactions, sometimes that just is late at night. In the interest of me getting them out within a time frame after the game, that means that they're still kind of relevant. So if you don't want to miss any, then you need that bell on. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, you need to subscribe and get that bell on. And I guess if you don't like the content, then none of that applies. Just turn the video off. I don't know. But anyway, let's get started. Let's get into the team of the season. So starting with goalkeeper. Now, I said I'd talk you through the process for each one of them and the players that I'd considered to role in the team. But for this one, I just went with Matt Sells. Forest's defensive record this season has been incredible. He's been a massive part of it. And it's not one of them really good defensive seasons where they've just barely faced a shot on goal. He's been absolutely peppered with shots on goal, and he's just making incredible saves every week, which, from a Newcastle fan who's had Matt Sells play for us before, I don't know where the fuck this has come from. He was nothing particularly special when he played for us. He wasn't particularly bad, but he wasn't who he is now. Like, he's completely unrecognizable from the player that played for us. So yeah, Matt Sells in goal. On to right back. So for right back, I've only really considered two here. They are Trent Alexander-Arnold and Ola Aina. So this one was a pretty hard decision because both of them are great going forwards. Only one of them's good defensively. We all know which one's the weak one defensively. But having said that, what Trent gives to a team, his passing range is just, there's no one in probably world football, I don't think, that has that in their locker. And I remember going back to our cup final, the week in the lead up, watching Liverpool play against PSG. Prior to that game, I'd pretty much written us off for the cup final because of our injuries that we had in the week leading up. Then when Trent got injured in the PSG game, that's when I started to have some belief. Because although for the majority of the final, Salah was in Dan Burns' pocket, Trent's passing range, he could have probably found Salah in Dan Burns' pocket. And I know obviously that's not in the Premier League, but he's also been doing that in the Premier League all season as well. So for that reason, I have to give it to Trent. It was a hard decision. I probably like Ola Aina more as a player. I think at this point, probably most Liverpool fans like Ola Aina more as a player. I think a lot of them feel a little bit betrayed at this point. But anyway, yeah, Trent's going to have to go in for this one. Moving on to right centre-back. So the only two that really top the list here are Saliba and Milenkovic for Forest. And again, just because of the incredible defensive record that Forest have had and the amount of defending they've had to do, and also he's even contributed with a few goals here and there, I've had to go with Milenkovic on this one. I'm not saying he's a better player than Saliba overall, but this season, the impact he's had in the Premier League this season, I'm going with Milenkovic. But then moving on to left centre-back though, the two that I've considered for this one are Gabriel and Murillo. This time, I think Arsenal fans are going to be a little happier because this time I've gone with Gabriel. Now, I know he's been injured for quite a while now, but you can see the impact he's had on the team since he's been out injured. He hasn't been injured for enough of the season to not be in contention for it. And the amount of goals he was scoring earlier in the season, his threat from set plays, as well as his defensive capability, he has to go in for me. And then finally, to finish off the back five, we've got left back. Now, this one was probably the hardest one for me because there's a few players that you can consider for left back, really. The obvious one for me being Lewis Hall. You've got Kirkes. You've got Robinson at Fulham. And it's probably worth a mention of like Cucurella, Aït-Nouri. Like there's a lot of good left backs in the Premier League at the moment. But as much as I wanted to go with Lewis Hall, and I really want to, and I think if he'd stayed fit for the whole season, it probably would have been Lewis Hall. I can't go with him and I have to go with Kirkes. Simply for the fact that he's had pretty much the same season as Lewis Hall, but he's just managed to prolong it longer and not be injured. That's pretty much it. And that brings us on to midfielders. So starting with right centre mid. So the midfield, I'm not going to talk you through each player that I thought of position by position, as in like right centre mid, centre mid, left centre mid. I'm going to get through the whole midfield and then I'll let you know all the other players that I'd considered at the end of the midfield. Because for this one, I was really just trying to find three quality midfielders. And then from there, whichever way I had to work them into a midfield three, I was just going to figure it out from there. So yeah, we'll start with right centre mid, Ryan Gravenberch. The hole that he's filled this season in Liverpool's midfield has been largely what's led them to winning the title. Obviously, Salah's played a massive part, but without Gravenberch in that midfield, Liverpool wouldn't be the team that they are at the moment. Centre midfield, I feel like a lot of you probably aren't going to like this one, but I'm going with Declan Rice. I know Arsenal have been underperforming a lot recently, but he is just quality. I do honestly think he should be taking the captaincy off Odegaard because he is absolutely outshining Odegaard every week at the moment. Like Arsenal as a whole don't look that great, but at the moment Declan Rice is just putting them on his back and carrying them pretty much every week. And ultimately he can't do it all himself. The way he controls possession, puts out fires, progresses the ball up the field, his set play delivery, he is just all round a quality player. And then finally, we'll move on to left centre mid. So I'll let you know now all of the players that I've considered for the final role in a midfield three. So in no particular order, we've got Tonali, Caicedo, Kovacic, Morgan Gibbs-White, Tielemans, Morgan Rogers, McAllister, and Justin Kluivert. And the one that I've gone with is Caicedo. And that was really hard for me to do because I really wanted to put Tonali in there. But ultimately, if we look at the season as a whole, there was a period at the start of this season when we really couldn't work Tonali into a team. So as much as I think Tonali is a top quality player, and I think that next year he'll almost be dead on for a team of the season spot, I think this year I have to give it to Caicedo. It was also a tough toss-up between him and Tielemans as well. But yeah, Caicedo starting to finally justify his massive price tag. So that is the midfield done. Moving on to attackers. Now, right wing. So I'll say the nominations. We all know who's got the right wing spot, but I'll say the nominations anyway. So the people that I thought of are Elanga, Mbeumo, and Salah. No points for guessing who I've given it to on this one. Up top, I think there's only one man for this one. Granted, there's maybe a shout for Chris Wood, but realistically, there isn't a shout for Chris Wood, not when Alexander Isak is in the Premier League. So yeah, Alexander Isak, striker. And that brings us on to the final position, and this was probably the hardest one to choose because there hasn't really been a major outstanding performer here, and that is left wing. So the players that I've considered for this one, we have Harvey Barnes, Alex Iwobi, Mateus Cunha, and I was trying to convince myself that I could shoehorn Anthony Elanga in here as well, because the way that Forest play, they swap their wingers round all the time. So you'll often find Anthony Elanga, even though he starts at right wing, playing on the left wing as well. He kind of has a bit of a free role. But I said I wouldn't shoehorn anyone in, so I aren't going to put Elanga in, even though I kind of wanted to, but I won't put him in. Harvey Barnes has spent most of the season struggling to get in the side, even though when he has got in the side, he's been incredible, but he spent most of the season not really playing. playing and on the sidelines. So can't really put Harvey Barnes in, I don't think. Alex Iwobi is a decent shout. He's had a pretty standout season, but I have to go with Mateus Cunha. This one does feel a little bit shoehorned, but he is a left winger. I don't think, honestly, he could even tell you what his preferred position is, but he's played left wing quite a fair bit this season, or like left attacking midfielder-y kind of role, like a left 10. But the point is, he can play left wing. If you look him up on most places on the internet, he has left wing next to his name. So Cunha's going in. And that leaves the team looking like this. And as a team overall, I'm pretty happy with that. The midfield could maybe do with a bit more forward passing options. So I'd maybe take either Caicedo or Gravenberch out and put Tielemans in just to have a bit more creativity in there. But then I suppose you're also getting that from Trent. Cunha can drop back in, add a bit of that. I don't think you're ever lacking creativity in a team when you've got Salah in the team. Isak can drop back into the midfield and help out as well. Yeah, just overall a fucking class team. Obviously, I'm sure there's going to be the odd player a few of you are going to disagree with, so let me know in the comments who you disagree with. And also, if you think I've nailed it, let me know that in the comments as well. It's always nice to hear nice things. As I said, I did want to put a few more Newcastle players in there. I was really close to putting Tonali, Hall. I completely forgot to even mention Murphy. Murphy potentially at right wing, which is crazy, but obviously you can't get Murphy in over Salah. But yeah, we had a lot of close seconds or thirds, but none that quite make it into the team other than Isak. But yeah, let me know in the comments where I've gone wrong, or if I've gone right. Let me know if I've done it well. But yeah, having finished it, I feel like I've got that horrible feeling. You know, like when you leave a hotel and you feel like you've left something in the hotel and you just can't shake that feeling. I feel like I've got that about this team this season, where I feel like I've left someone really, really blatantly obvious out. So if I have, please let me know and just put that thought to rest. And then, yeah, let me know if you'd have done it differently, and let me know if you think I nailed it as well, because it's always nice to hear that you've done it right. But with all that said, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.